The train shrieked in the cold dawn as if warning her to turn back, but Clara didn't flinch. She stepped down with her single battered suitcase, boots sinking into the red Wyoming dirt. No one waited for her. No name board. No welcoming smile. No man who'd chosen her, because no one had. She was the leftover bride, the mail order, woman whose letters had been read and rejected by every rancher in the valley. Too plain, too quiet, too bruised by her past to sound like anything but a burden. The matchmaker had said, someone might pick you eventually. But that eventually had never come, until a tiny voice had written a note on a separate scrap of paper and tucked it into the envelope. Please, whoever marries her, can she be nice? I need a mommy. Clara had later learned the child wasn't supposed to write anything, and that no man had responded, not one, except the last name on the list, the one rumored to be half feral since his wife died, a widower rancher who'd stopped speaking to most folks, a man with a temper like winter steel, Isaac Thornton. Now she stood alone in the dust, heart hammering, clutching that note in her pocket like a prayer. The station emptied quickly. Still no one. She told herself she wouldn't cry. She'd promised she wouldn't. She was here to start over, not fall apart again. Then a small shape emerged from behind a post, messy-haired, wide-eyed, a girl no older than 6, hugging a worn stuffed horse to her chest. You're her, the girl whispered. Aren't you? Clara knelt slowly. Her who? The bride nobody picked. Except me. Before Clara could speak, the girl reached out tentatively and touched Clara's cheek with trembling fingers, as if confirming she was real. Please, the little voice cracked, raw with hope too fragile to breathe on. Be my mommy. The words hit Clara harder than any rejection ever had, the kind of plea that rearranged the bones inside a person. She opened her mouth to answer, but a shadow moved. The biggest man she'd ever seen stepped into the light, broad shoulders blocking half the rising sun. His jaw was dark with stubble, his coat frayed, his eyes glacial and unreadable. Isaac Thornton looked at Clara as if he'd been forced to come, as if she was trouble he didn't want, but had promised someone he'd face anyway. Get in the wagon, he said. Not a greeting, not a welcome, a command. Clara swallowed hard. The girl slipped her hand into Clara's. Don't mind him. Daddy doesn't talk much anymore. But he's good. He just forgot how to show it. Isaac's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. He only turned toward the wagon. Clara's heart cracked, not from fear of him, but from the way the little girl held her tighter, as if terrified she'd vanish. And deep down, Clara felt it, something shifting, something dangerous but warm. She wasn't chosen. She wasn't wanted, but she was needed. And that was far more powerful. The wagon ride jolted over ruts, every bump rattling Clara's bones. But Isaac didn't look back even once. His silence was like iron walls built too thick for sunlight. The girl, Lila, sat pressed to Clara's side as if guarding her. You don't have to stay, Isaac said abruptly, still facing forward. If you're expecting comfort or affection, I'm not offering it. Clara stiffened. I didn't come here for romance, Mr. Thornton. No, he said flatly. You came because no one else asked. Lila flinched as if he'd slapped her. Clara wrapped an arm around the girl instinctively. Feeling the small body tighten, go still, Isaac noticed. His hands gripped the reins. His shoulders rose and fell once in something like regret. Clara spoke softly. Your daughter wrote to me. That's why I'm here. I didn't know she did that, Isaac growled. Didn't need a stranger filling her head with false hopes. Clara's pulse sped up. And what exactly would those be? That anyone can replace her mother. Lila's breath hitched, barely audible. Clara felt it like a knife under her ribs. She forced her voice steady. I'm not here to replace anyone, only to protect her, and myself. Isaac said nothing for a long time. Only the horses clopped against the silence. They reached the ranch, massive, beautiful, lonely. The house looked strong but hollowed, like someone had punched grief straight through its center. Inside, the air was cold. Half the room seemed untouched for years. A tin plate still rested on a shelf with dust layered thick over the rim. A child's drawing curled yellow on the wall. Heavy boots and men's coats hung where they'd been left the day. Someone stopped caring to move them. Lila tugged Clara toward the kitchen. I can show you where things are, she said. Daddy forgets sometimes. He makes food that burns. Clara smiled faintly. I burn things too. Lila beamed, small sunshine. Then we can burn things together. Isaac stopped in the doorway. I don't need you reorganizing my house. Or touching my things. Do what you came for. Nothing more. Clara turned, eyes steady. And what exactly do you think I came for? To work, he said coldly. To earn your keep. To help with the girl. End of it. Lila's voice trembled. Daddy? He didn't notice. Or pretended not to. Clara stepped closer, chin lifted. I can work. Harder than most. But don't speak about your daughter like she's a chore. She's a child. A lonely one. Isaac's eyes snapped to hers. Blue eyes fractured with something dark. Something warning. Something hurting. No lectures, he said low. You don't know this house. You don't know what we've lived through. Then let me know, Clara whispered. He looked at her as if she'd stabbed him. Then he walked out. Lila sagged. He's scared, she murmured. Not angry. People mix them up. Clara knelt to meet her eyes. What's he scared of? Lila pressed her lips together. If I tell you, Daddy will think it is my fault. Clara brushed hair from her face. Nothing you say to me will ever be your fault. Lila hesitated, then whispered, Daddy thinks he ruins everything he loves, even us. Clara felt the ground tilt. And he thinks if he lets you stay, you'll die too. The room went silent. Clara could hear her heartbeat thudding in her ears. Fear, grief, guilt. They all clicked into a terrifying, perfect shape. That's why he kept distant. Why he didn't smile. Why he acted like love was poison. He thought he was the curse. Clara held the little girl tightly. I'm not going anywhere. But that night everything changed. Wind howled against the shutters. The ranch felt too big, too shadowed. Clara lay awake in the small guest room, the blanket thin, the past thicker. Then a scream, high, piercing, desperate. Lila. Clara bolted upright, racing down the hall. She burst into the child's room and found Lila thrashing in her bed, breath choking out in sobs. Eyes closed, but seeing something terrible. Nightmares. Violent ones. Clara ran to her. Lila. Honey, wake up. But Lila only cried harder, whispering, Mama, Mama, Mama. Clara's heart cracked. The doorway darkened. Isaac stood there, shirt undone, breathing hard, as if her screams had torn him from sleep like a whip. His face twisted. Not anger, terror. Move, he rasped, stepping toward the bed. But the moment he reached for Lila, she shoved his hands away. No, Daddy hurts. Daddy hurts. Isaac recoiled as if burned. Clara froze. Isaac's hands trembled. His eyes were wild, wounded, splintering. His voice shattered mid-sentence. I would never hurt her. Clara grabbed Lila's hands. She's dreaming. She's not seeing you. Lila sobbed harder, still trapped in the nightmare. Isaac stumbled back, leaning on the wall, gripping the doorframe like he might fall. His voice was barely a breath. This is why I didn't want you here. Clara looked at him sharply. Because your daughter has nightmares. That's not your fault. No, he whispered, eyes hollow. Because when she screams, I can't help her. And someday I'm afraid I'll fail you too. Clara shook her head. You're not failing her. Come closer. I can't. His voice broke. If she pushes me away again, Isaac, Clara said gently, she's not awake. She's drowning. Let's pull her out, together. He hesitated. Then, slowly, he came to the bedside. Clara took Lila's right hand. Isaac took the left. Clara whispered in Lila's ear, You're safe. Daddy's here. I'm here. Isaac's broken voice followed, raw and trembling. Lila bug, wake up, sweetheart. I'm right here. The moment he said it, Lila's eyes fluttered open, wet, terrified, searching. And she reached for him. Isaac froze. Lila clung to his shirt, sobbing into his chest. Daddy, don't go. Clara watched the man crumble, silently, helplessly, beautifully. He wrapped both arms around his daughter, pressing his face into her hair, shaking. I'm not going anywhere, he whispered. I swear it. When he finally looked up at Clara, something was different. Not softer, not warmer, but open. Barely, a crack in the armor. Stay, he said hoarsely. Please. Clara felt everything inside her tilt. I will, she answered. Because for the first time since she arrived, she saw it. Not a cruel man. Not a silent widower. Not the rancher who didn't choose her. A father drowning in guilt. a man terrified to love again, and a little girl who needed her more than breath. And Clara, unwanted, unchosen, unseen, finally understood. Sometimes the families that save you are the ones who never meant to choose you at all.